Cannabis Life Radio. Cannabis Life Radio is on the air. I am Leon Hamilton, along with Arby Barroso, Cheryl Murray Powell, and a very special guest, one of my favorite people on the planet.
Wow.
You bumped me.
Go ahead.
So, yes.
I already did.
Ahead.
Robert Roundtree, yes.
Oh, Mr. Robert Roundtree.
Yes.
We're actually on the radio. We had the podcast. I heard it. It's doing a great job.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great job getting out there. We're actually talking about getting these collectives, as you mentioned, which I think was a perfect name, of getting people together and really spreading the word and really putting everybody's efforts into one. We've talked about, and I don't mean to go straight into this, but we only have half an hour, and having you here at the table is a blessing. And thank you for being here and really, taking the drive to get down here and sit down with us. It's really cool and important because you have been one of the people that have been pounding the pavement.
That's right. Yeah. Literally pounding the pavement.
Like pounding the pavement.
He faces Pigman instead of dealing with him online, like me. He goes and messes with him face to face.
That was an interesting chain of events last year, or earlier this year. One
right after another. As soon as he was on our show, or we talked about him on our show, and then he started with the fight with me and started with the fight with you, and 2 hours later he's
poof.
literally poof.
Literally
boom.
Poof.
And I wanted to say thank you. I'm honored to be down here with y'all. This is a great honor. But you know what else went poof, which kind of angered me, Arby, is apparently his record. The whole thing.
Really?
It's not clean.
No, his record.
His DUI
is gone?
Poof.
Yeah, poof.
Poof.
Well, isn't that interesting?
It happened really quickly, too. Just swept under the
they've
rug.
they've kept him quiet. He's probably doing his community service, and he's probably going to one of these classes that he might have showed up once to sign in. And for anybody else that's sitting at this table, it would absolutely be detrimental to everything coming from somebody who had a DWI.
Yeah,
me too.
From being pulled over and having all my medications and my prescriptions all in one bottle in 2010. And I was pulled over by plantation police, which actually today, we spoke about it last week. Stephen Bowser was one of the arresting officers and now is buying our CBD and actually has a CrossFit off of 595. I took a picture with him. It was kind of pretty cool.
So the guy that arrested you for DUI is actually selling your products, CBD products.
Yes, sir.
Incredible.
It's how crazy is that?
That's the way of the world, my friend.
So to have somebody like that politically connected, and that's the problem I think with our society is, they always think what's best for us. They always want to tell us what we should and we shouldn't do. And as human beings, we all have a soul. We all have an understanding of what's right, what's wrong, what can we do, what shouldn't we do. And I could drink. I don't drink much at all, and when I do, I get very tipsy very fast. For our Christmas party, I got very tipsy very fast.
You handled your
own. I typically end up having it where I don't really eat beforehand, so it's not a good thing. So it was Uber from the second I got there, and then we were Ubering home, and it was right down the street from our house. But for having somebody with first, it's a doctor. Second was sitting on the committee in cannabis.
He was the chairman at the time of the medical committee.
Exactly. So, and then really making fun of people over their decisions to choose something that comes from the earth, and makes people feel good. At the same time, helps medically with pain, with sleeping. With any of these things, and to compare it to alcohol and him choosing alcohol over cannabis, to this day with everything across, whether it's hemp derived, whether it's CBD, whether it's anything that has to do with the plant itself is really amazing to me. And then now his, like you said, poof goes his record.
Yeah, it sure did. It went poof, but this is one of the reasons we need these collectives to form and start having a stronger voice, which you and I were talking about on the podcast. the more we need to get people more involved, get them on message. And I think what happened was the news cycle on him died down, so it was swept under the rug.
Oh, yeah.
If we could have kept the momentum going and really let the leadership in Tallahassee know, and, locally, that stuff's just not okay.
Yeah.
We're not saying he's like a horrible person for getting the DUI.
Right.
I've had a DUI, but it's when you're arguing with people back and forth
Online.
On social media
and calling them
idiots and mocking them. I remember one question was, how much does Big Pharma pay you?
Right.
And he said, not enough. Not enough.
Unbelievable, the things he was saying. And then hours later, he gets arrested for DUI. Your representatives, folks.
Yeah. There were some other rumors. I heard that he had CBD in the car.
Really?
Yeah, I wonder, maybe it was Green Roads. I'm not saying it was, but that's who I would have chosen.
I wouldn't be clapping over that one, but if he had it in there. But talk
if
about
he's
what
listening,
you do.
he should switch this alcohol for the CBD.
Definitely.
It'll be a lot better.
It would be great if he actually took that challenge. I know a lot of people, including people sitting at this table, that called him out and tried to have a conversation with him.
Mm-hmm.
I think if he had any sense, I think anybody that's representing a committee that has to do with hemp or cannabis or any of that, I think should first go and see a family that's dealing with the fact of they might have to leave a state that they're in to go to a rec or a medical state.
Right.
I think that they should be forced to spend 3 days with that family to see what that family goes through with their children, whether it's seizures or cancer or somebody that's as dyslexic that starts to choose to use cannabis as something to help them eat, which is a big thing that a lot of people don't talk about. And a lot of people pass away and die due to having that type of disease. On that case, what is it that you do on a daily basis? Like where do you concentrate most of your efforts? I know we spoke about doing a collective. I know you do a podcast.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're extremely involved with True Leaf. And Jose Belen, which shout out again, Jose Belen.
Yeah, Mission Zero.
Mission Zero, amazing organization. What is it? What's the daily Robert Roundtree grind?
Okay, so I get up. It'll usually take me about an hour or so to get going. I'm not a morning person.
So you're one of those old cars that you just got to spin that.
Yeah, might have to push me down the hill, pop the clutch. The clutch would be my coffee. I like it really
once
stiff.
you get going.
Once I get going, though, I usually will check out the news cycle of the day and see if there's any news, because the mainstream outlets will usually put it out, first thing in the morning before I'm up. And if there's anything of interest, I'll check into that. My biggest thing that I do, though, is respond to patients. They message me on Facebook, my phone. I'm fairly available. My phone number is all over the place, and really interact with patients and help them. So you mentioned I do a lot of support for True Leaf. So somehow I've become like the de facto non-official representative to patients.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. So they'll ask me how to use the True Clear, so I'd share recipes.
That's awesome.
I'm primarily patient focused and trying to help people out, really. And then from
you're
that,
the educator on that side for
but it's
doctors that don't know, but they recommend it to for prescription, for recommendation. And they come to you because you're educated and you have many years of experience.
Yeah, and they know that I have a pretty extensive network of, like you said, doctors, dispensaries. I'm not just friendly with True Leaf, despite what everyone says. So
it doesn't really even matter.
No, I know.
As long as you're putting your time and effort into the patient, it doesn't really matter. Mm-hmm. The more you're associated with, the better.
Oh, absolutely.
Because somebody
and
with
the
your
more,
type of talent is
the more change
awesome.
you can have, because not any entity or anything can help everyone.
Exactly.
So that's why collectives, networks are good. So I use my network to try and, get people medicine if they need it, figure out recipes. I mean, runs the gamut, and none of that's like what I do for a living. That's just what I do to help people out. That's
so cool.
So with
like
your podcast, you just kind of had a resurgence with your podcast, doing regular interviews. What made you go back to the broadcasting side of your activism?
Well, just circumstances dictated why I couldn't do it until now. I just didn't have a place set up. My microphone got stolen. A whole bunch of excuses not to do it.
How did it feel to be back?
But the real reason is, it's great. The real reason is sessions cranking up, and we got to apply some heat to these politicians. So during the lull of, not having a political session, I focus most of my efforts on direct help and direct support.
Contact.
Organizing other support for people. The Smart Collective, they're great. I would love to plug them. Every time they're there to help. If I call on them,
And I know
and veterans, they love supporting veterans.
You, Smart Collective, Mission Zero, did some hurricane relief activities
We did,
as well.
and it was supported by a whole bunch of other people. True Leave, Revive Magazine. We True Leave donated the fuel. Revive had this awesome barbecue where we just went down and gave away a bunch of food.
And that's in Key
awesome.
West.
That was in
Key West,
it was in North. It's called North Naples, but basically
Okay.
Naples
was
Fort
hit
Myers.
pretty hard, yeah.
Yeah, it was hit hard. It was pretty devastating on that trip. So that's like the day. That's like a day in my life. It might be traveling around the state,
constant,
and just grinding.
constant grind.
Yeah, and then networking and politicking. Calling politicians. I don't always call them like we call Pigman out, although that was fun.
Pretty fun.
That was fun.
I don't
for a while,
recommend that
for sure.
being your way to get the foot in the door.
Yeah.
I agree.
And I would like to be the one to say that, since I'm a little controversial at times.
But
that's why we love you.
I think you've evolved over. I've watched you over the past, I would say, 7 months, kind of evolve with more of a focus on being an objective journalist and giving a balanced view of these types of situations. And I think that's when you're going to see a lot of support from mainstream media to continue these stories that need to be continued, like you mentioned with Representative Pigman. When we're enjoying too much the fall, we kind of lose sight of, the big picture and what we're trying to do and who we need to engage with. If, again, a mainstream media station, if they see a story and we're just enjoying someone's fall, they're not going to pick that up. But if it's straight objective journalism, they're going to pick it up, and then we can carry the story, and it'll be you guys were the ones who broke the news. And I see a lot more of that activity from you. Extremely proud of you and your efforts in that. Yeah.
Thanks. Yeah, and then that would be the final component of what I do is write my own stories, both promotional pieces for brands that I like, and then just a massive social media presence across Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
I mean, you guys are doing an amazing job. I always kind of, as we spoke the other day, take a step back to you guys and just watch the grind that you guys have really, gone off to, and the amount of shows and the amount of miles that you put on a van or in that car, and just getting the real groups together that are really trying to make that effort and that push. And now that season is starting, 2018 governor races, senator races, House representative races. This is the fun time of the year, as I would say, because now, yes, besides the activism and us getting out there and really preaching about whether it's hemp-derived CBD, whether it's cannabis, whether it's full plant, whether it's flower, whether it's smokable, whatever it is. The fact is that right now is the perfect time that if you want to get involved in the industry and be part of something that's bigger than just one individual person. Right now is the time to speak to your representatives, become part of a group, do something right now, because 2018 will set precedent on what we do in Florida. And it could be very bad if people do not get up and have their voices heard, or it could be amazing and everybody could step up and everybody could leave, as we said, our egos on the sideline, and make sure that we create that group where anybody who, whether they're sitting home and can make a couple phone calls to reach out to the local politicians, to the regionals, to the state, to Tallahassee. We've always said their phone rings. They don't have cell phones. They got to hear an office phone ring. And at the same time, they got to, respond to emails. Right now is the time. Is there anything that you have planned? I know we had spoken about getting some things done and getting them done rather quickly, because right now is the time to really start pushing forward and having our agenda heard. Do you think that in our industry that's full of people with egos,
big egos,
big egos, which is really what's gotten a lot of people where they're at, to be honest with you. So there's nothing wrong with having that remark, but you're kind of hiding over there. So
as long as the movement is superior to
right. So what you think it's a possibility to get these people and everybody together and really form a collective, as you said, or something similar to that, where we could actually really reach out and have them hear us like they did for the vote in 2016. But obviously that wasn't far enough. We didn't get enough done during that time because they're still arguing how should we do it. There's no really true dispensaries besides True Leaf.
Most of the rules aren't even out yet. Like, edible rules aren't out. The products are getting delayed.
Yeah.
I saw something today that they said Bax probably isn't even going to do the licensing until the summer.
Wow.
I mean, and we're in session, so the whole thing can change anyways.
Yeah.
It can just be redone.
I heard a lot of people that are waiting for their cards now are getting waivers instead to hold them over until they get their card.
I think once they get the email
it's
confirmation,
like a temporary.
Once they get the email confirmation, they can utilize that to get access to product.
Yeah. So they can get the products without getting their actual card.
Yeah.
So what's the point of actually getting the card? I don't understand.
For the state to make money, or the next private corporation to make money. The card is actually more than a hunting and fishing and driver's license put together.
Right.
Crazy.
For your medicine.
But at least they're
giving.
Is it
on par with other states as far as marijuana licenses?
Well, that's hard because, like, in California, you're not required to get a card. The doctor will print you out like a piece of paper, but if you want to pay extra money, you can get a card.
But like a Colorado or states with cards.
Those are I don't know, because when I go to a adult use state, I just
walk
by. Yeah,
it's better to get the card.
And speaking of adult use, that's where we need to get to.
Exactly,
is the next step.
Where are we? We were talking about that last week, and where are we as far as Regulate Florida? How many more?
I don't know the final, like, what the count is. I mean, some 50, tens of thousands. I mean, I just don't know.
Do you know if we're getting closer to the?
We're definitely fairly. I mean, a lot closer now than we were before to the Supreme Court review. I don't. We
have until May.
I'm not like a policy hawk on that stuff, so I don't know.
We'll have Karen on. We'll have Karen on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because I mean,
her engaged on what.
But trying to get people to sign up, this is something that everyone, I think, is starting to come around, and we're starting to see it happen with Regulate Florida. Different organizations, coming up with support. We've got the Sunshine Cannabis and Regulate Florida hat. True Leaf has
shout
the petitions.
Out Chris.
Yeah, for sure. Chris Sunshine. Sure. True Leaf has the petitions in their dispensaries. I would love to see all the other MMTCs carry the petitions as well.
Do they even have stores?
Knox has a
Knox
few. I think Certera has one.
Yeah.
I believe Cureleaf has one.
Modern Health had.
Yeah, who's now Cureleaf, I believe.
Okay.
But that company from Canada, I don't think they have one.
Afia.
Yeah, Afria. But they're Liberty Health Sciences actually in Florida.
So there
And their stock's been on a
stores.
decline for the last month.
So what do you think? I mean,
I would like to see people get on message, right? So like you said, egos. So a lot of us are in the industry as well.
Yes.
And sometimes industry needs or business needs seem to take precedent over the movement. And you're saying, it's all about the movement. Like this movement's bigger than all of us combined.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's rippling down through generations. This may be the way that we heal the world in a lot. Many more ways than just medicine and food.
Yep. Oh, absolutely. Paper. I mean, for 1 acre of hemp that we grow, we save 4.1 acres of trees.
Mm-hmm. And it cleans up the land while it's doing it.
It's absolutely it's here. It was the first $1 billion crop. Let's get over that hump. Let's really push that economically. I mean, we'll have employment opportunities. I mean, a lot of our guys here are employed because of the business that we do, or they've expanded their business. We need to start setting that precedent and making sure people hear it.
And jobs in the cannabis industry seem to pay higher on average, from what I've seen, than the regular job in Florida.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely.
And out west, where I've done work in Washington, Colorado. It's normally not a minimum wage job.
No.
No.
When we had ours,
even people working in the grows at the bottom level.
Right.
I mean, even the call centers, I think, are like $12 to $15 an hour
wage
in Florida.
Yep.
Yeah,
we spent a lot of money on our wages when we had our dispensary and we had our our grow. We had our employees didn't make minimum salary.
And I think job creation. Sorry to interrupt you, but that's something that everyone is for, right?
Absolutely.
Higher paying jobs, more jobs.
Yeah.
It helps everything out. That's something that everyone can stay on message about.
1,000%.
So
everyone,
that
all political bents can agree with that.
And growing at home, have to have home grows.
That's a must.
Have to have home grows.
Not everyone is in support of that, but home grows are a benefit.
I would question: have they ever met a poor person that needed cannabis?
Right.
No.
Well, no, I think,
why would you not be in support of a home grow?
Control.
Right.
You're
talking about people in positions of power.
They don't want it.
People in positions of power, people who...
If you're in the movement and don't support home grows, I'll show you the door.
Right. No, there's plenty of doors we could walk them right out. That's
right out.
In the movement, you'll find people in favor of home grow, probably except for people who are making money from the licensed cannabis industry. So
but they can though. I mean, when you go and apply for a plant count in Colorado, you got to go through your steps to get it done. I mean, there's ways.
You mean as a caregiver?
As a caregiver,
right.
I mean, if that's basically, but that's you're growing at home.
Oh,
yeah, you still have to get a little tag and pay the tax. Like in California, it's the county where you're at.
Right. No, but it's not. They're not overwhelmed by the money and the tax revenues, or else we wouldn't be going through this in Florida. I think they like the control, and they're influenced by law enforcement, and they're influenced by the pharmaceutical industry, and that's why there's the resistance. Now, as a license holder in a slow-moving state like Florida, where the patient count is low and not growing to its maximum potential, you're not going to want home grow. You already have enough challenges with the doctors not wanting to recommend. You have enough challenges with, with the legislative roadblocks. So you as a license holder, the last thing you want is home grow.
Right.
But that's why some of them, as you've called out, I appreciate that. I believe it's Knox is the that doesn't want bud.
Right. It's even on their wall.
How can you?
But here's the thing. That's
really
really short-sighted because who do you think the state's going to go to provide seeds and clones for the home grows? They're not going to tell you to buy them from California or Oregon seed banks.
Or Europe.
Right.
All right. Robert, are you familiar with Arby's mail sack?
I don't think he's familiar with
You're
my
not familiar
sack.
with it? All right.
There's very few people that are familiar with my
It's Arby's mail
sacks.
sack. It's people that email or comment on Facebook, and they ask questions about cannabis, and we want you to stick around for it. Is that okay?
Yeah.
All right. We got to take a break. So you are currently tuned to Cannabis Life Radio, brought to you by
Arby's
Green Roads
Sacks.
World.
Green Roads World is recognized as one of the world's leading suppliers of CBD products, and Cannabis Life Radio is giving away Green Road CBD products every week. To join, just tune in on our Facebook Live broadcast every Saturday morning at 10 and follow the instructions on air and in the comment section. Cannabis Life Radio is teaming up with Green Roads World to give you free CBD. Good luck from Cannabis Life Radio and Green Roads World.
Across the state to across the country, the Hemp Kings is your online home for hemp oil products. From organic hemp oil to intense concentrates, there is only one name you need to remember. The Hemp Kings.
The Hemp King.
Our hemp cream pain blaster lotions uses natural essential oils to deliver hemp's natural pain reliever directly to the site of inflammation for long-lasting relief. Now, our Pain Blaster Hemp Cream has now gone to the extreme.
Extreme?
Extreme!
Extreme!
New Pain Blaster Extreme Cream delivers even more relief, even faster! The best hemp products at the best prices delivered anywhere in the continental U.S. TheHempKings.com!
TheHempKings.com.
As a loving pet owner, you want to treat your senior dog for dysplasia, neuropathy, and joint discomfort with minimal traditional chemical medication. And as loving pet owners, we at King Canine agree, and we're excited to make our signature CBD line available to you. Derived from all-natural cannabidiol compounds, lab-tested, non-GMO, plant-based, cutting-edge King Calm CBD reduces inflammation and discomfort naturally, and even reduces anxiety from fireworks and thunderstorms. Go to KingCanine.com. That's KingKanine for details. And browse a full line of products like King Comb Deshedder, King Calm Balm, and King Clean Shampoo for pet wellness inside and out. Order now using the code BARK20 for an exclusive 20% discount. KingKanine.com. King Calm CBD and the rest of our natural cannabidiol products. King Canine for natural pet wellness inside and out.
Florida Home Grow is the state's #1 seller of hemp oil products. Stop by and check out their organic hemp oil, capsules, and pain-killing topical lotions. Enjoy a complimentary cup of fresh organic coffee when checking out our beautiful showroom. Florida Home Grow also carries unique hemp items like jewelry, soaps, clothing, and accessories. Don't forget to try refreshing natural lemonade or delicious ice cream sandwiches. Florida Home Grow is conveniently located on Lake Worth Road between Jog and the Turnpike. We're the #1 sellers of hemp oil products because our stuff works.
This is the radio show people talk about all week long. This is Cannabis Life Radio.
Mike Hot. Hot Mike.
Hot Mike. Welcome to Cannabis Life Radio. This is Florida's original cannabis radio program, and it's time. It's time.
Yeah,
for
but I want some
everyone-
answers.
Answers for what?
Let's do the
I want to
questions
see.
first.
I want to see some answers here. Like who was paying attention? Well, if 2 seconds.
What do you mean?
Where was I flying my drone? I'm just looking for the responses.
Oh, you're a
here,
drone?
man. Yeah,
We're
I'm
back
a
to your
drone
drone
guy.
again? Okay,
Yeah, because I'm
where
gonna give away. I'm gonna give away like a daily dose.
daily dose.
If anybody answers where I was flying my drone,
I already know.
yesterday, you can't answer it.
Oh, you know too?
You do too.
I
Did you
know,
see
I was
it?
watching it.
All right. So if
I saw it
anybody,
too.
you
It's a
guys
nice
got
neighborhood.
5 seconds. 1,
Who's gonna get it?
2, 3, 4, and 5. No. All right,
Plantation.
let's go to yours. Ready?
All right.
Yeah, actually, boom. There you go.
I won.
I got a winner.
All right.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner.
Winner, chicken dinner. It's time for. Do we have music for Arby's mail sack? By the way, do we have music? Yeah. That's our mail sack music. Santiago.
Santiago
from Fort Myers. I would like to hear everyone's theory about the real reason the legislature went against the Constitution and eliminated the smoking of cannabis. It can't be because medicine isn't smoked. That's BS. That's a good question.
I'm not going to answer that.
You're not going to answer it?
Kind of ties back to the conversation we were having about interpretation, balance of power. So the legislation, of course, their role isn't to necessarily interpret the constitutional amendment, but they did have the responsibility of making policy. Their interpretation of Amendment 2 was that it did not allow for flower because of the language, you cannot smoke outside. We disagree with that interpretation. Judicially, it is being discussed. We actually had there were depositions this week, the Redner case.
That's correct.
Going on this week. So stay tuned. There's going to be more on that, but it's a balance of powers constitutional.
Yeah, but what's the reason? What do you think the reason?
What's their rationale?
Yeah.
Their rationale is because they can and because they want to restrict access and they want to control.
Right.
They want to act as if Amendment 2 did not even happen, and they're going to interpret it as conservatively as possible.
There's a couple of other reasons too.
Money.
Well, that too, and plus a lot of the law enforcement was against the smoking because it's easier for police to arrest people when they can smell it.
Absolutely.
And that's the reason that they want to keep the smoking part illegal. That keeps the greases, the machines greased, the wheels of justice flowing. Everybody keeps getting arrested. They keep pleading to the lesser charge, getting rid of the cannabis and pleading.
They got to decriminalize across the board.
Yeah, this is getting ridiculous.
It's got to be decriminalized and absolutely not scheduled.
All right.
Those are the only two ways it's going to make sense and really expand employment, education, research, everything.
Yeah. All right. Next question. Mike from Plantation. You might have seen your drone.
Plantation.
Yeah. Are you ready? Arby, Cheryl, Leon. We'll do Robert too.
They even included you.
Yeah. Which celebrity political figure do you want to have as a guest and why? All right. Who do you want?
Oof.
I mean, I would like political figure. I'd definitely like Bernie Sanders on because he has been a federal proponent and he has actually filed legislation for legalization. So I would love to have Bernie Sanders on to really speak about it because he's been consistently in support of cannabis to the point of filing legislation.
Yeah.
I would take Hannity.
Hannity?
Yep.
Why would you take Hannity?
Because I like to hear his. I'm waiting for somebody to tell me that we're wrong.
Oh, and he would be the one to do it?
He's gonna try.
Yeah.
Or maybe he is, or is he? I think
He
he's
doesn't
actually
even say
on board
anything
anymore.
about it.
I think he's on board now.
I think it's because it's a states' rights issue to him. What do you think, Robert?
Cheryl may disagree with me, but he's here in Florida. Roger Stone. He has the ear. He has the ear of the president.
Completely, 120% disagree with you.
That is a good. I like that. I like
This
that.
narrative of the ear of the president. If he had it, why isn't he doing something with that ear? Why is he waiting for fundraising events before he will
fire on
before he will?
That's not why I said it though. That's why I prefaced
he is
it.
an on-record
We
racist,
started late.
and he does not represent the voice of the industry.
All right.
He doesn't. He doesn't. 1,000%.
Right.
But I think it's a good call out name only because I like just to see how crazy he is. That's pretty much as far as I'd want to go.
And by the way, he's a great tipper.
He is a great tipper.
He's a great tipper. I'm telling you.
He's lost it.
He used to complain when he came into my restaurant every day. He's got when he got me.
He's
as
an
a waiter.
unhooked racist.
Yeah,
I do
he's
not
got-
give platforms.
He got a guy
to
instead of a girl.
She doesn't like giving airtime to anybody that's
All right.
of his
Next question.
qualifications.
Well, by the way, mine would be Pigman. Okay, Jane
That would
from
be
We can
great.
get him
That
on.
would be
I
great.
want
Yeah.
Pigman in here.
He
Can
still
you?
owes me an interview.
Yeah,
Oh,
bring
yeah?
him in.
Let's
Yeah,
make that happen.
Let's
absolutely.
fly. Let's
I
fly
want
him
to see
in.
Pigman.
Let's take
I
care
want to
of
talk to him. All right,
We'll
Jane
get him
from
in
Lake
here.
Worth. How much cannabis do you think Robert Roundtree has smoked in his lifetime in pounds?
Ooh,
It says in pounds.
wow.
They wrote in pounds.
No,
Yeah. How many pounds do you think you've consumed
In a
in your
medicated
lifetime?
state.
How old are you? 20,
How about
29, 30?
37.
37.
I'll be
So how many
38
pounds?
in July.
So you started when you were
let's
probably
see.
18, 17?
nah, he started way
I go
younger.
through probably in a legal state
Right.
when I was there
Half ounce a week?
about 5 or 6 pounds a year.
5 or 6 pounds
It's
a
about
year.
right.
So we're talking
about right.
But seriously, you could go up to like 10 if I include making edibles too, because it requires a lot.
If you're hitting edibles.
So we're talking about 3 or 4 tons.
Yeah, no problem. No, at least a ton. No, seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been
especially with
smoking since I
edibles.
was 11. So,
11?
Yeah.
My goodness. All right. Since you can't call yourself Florida's only cannabis radio show anymore, I thought of a new slogan. Welcome to Cannabis Life Radio, Florida's only cannabis radio program that doesn't make you scrumming. That's nice.
Scrum it.
Okay, Samuel from Marco Island. If Regulate Florida passes, will home growing be allowed? If so, how many plants?
We wish.
Yes. Well, so there's a 2-part answer. You can have 6 mature plants and as many non-mature plants. So that's really good for people that want to juice, incorporate it into your food.
Right.
So it's
and eating raw cannabis.
Yeah. Yes, it will be legal, and it will be legal as soon as you download the petition at regulateflorida.com/petition.
Get involved.
Print about 100 of them, get them signed, send them in to Sensible Florida, address on the back.
And
Let's
stay
do it.
tuned.
That's
and
what we
stay
need
tuned.
to do.
Stay tuned to everybody at this table trying to get certain things done during this legislative year
Yes.
and during this voting time. Pay attention. Get involved. Don't matter who you're getting involved with. The fact is that whatever group in Florida is going to be associated through somebody that's sitting at this table. What we want to do is we want to bring everybody together, and we want to make as much noise and call as many legislators and representatives that we can to make the right decision and allow the Floridians to get what they voted for, which is full legalization of
Full access.
cannabis in the state of Florida.
All right. We got one more question. You ready?
Yeah.
What is the best way to get a skeptical senior citizen to try CBD?
Education.
I already know. What do you use?
Skeptical senior citizen. I think giving them a variety of delivery systems to choose from. I think edibles is it would be more palatable for someone who is skeptical. And then I would encourage them to do it if they're in a high anxiety situation. I would also do peer-to-peer education where someone like Arby's dad, who's in his 90s and was resistant to CBD, now has replaced a plethora of narcotics with CBD, and him telling his story and others like that, I think that's what's going to move the needle with our seniors.
What I always do is I always tell them to try the topicals, so the stuff that they rub on their skin first, because
That's a good entry
they're
point.
much more, willing to put stuff on their skin more than they are willing to put something on their tongue. So if that works, then they move on to the sublinguals, and it usually works.
All right.
Before we get off, Robert Roundtree, how can they reach out to you and really be part of your group, or if they need any questions answered or your help? How can they reach out to you?
Or what we're working on too.
Yeah, so ideally, I would like to have someone from every county to help us coordinate. They can reach out to me at robert@floridamarijuana.net and send your name, number, address. You don't need to send your address, town, so we can start to compile a list of volunteers that are going to work on this with us. And then also on Facebook at Florida Dispensaries, or type in Florida Marijuana. It'll pull up both things. And then my profile, Robert Roundtree, Instagram, Florida_marijuana.
And
You're
Chris,
everywhere.
and Chris Sunshine right there.
Chris
Sunshine is in the
here,
house.
Hey.
representing.
In the house.
I thought it got a little brighter in here.
Yeah.
He brought the sunshine.
Yeah.
Every time.
So, well, an initiative that it was a brainchild of Arby and Robert on the podcast this week is a get involved type of hub. So Robert has kindly accepted the position as the task force captain for the state of Florida. This will be expanded across the nation, and Arby and Robert will be working as leadership of this Get Involved campaign. There will be a one-stop hub website where you can find out how to contact your legislators. You can get templates for contacting them either by voice or by or electronically. There's a hotline that's going to be set up for any seizures of product, violations of patient rights issues across the country, and that's the direction we're going into. So it'll consolidate the efforts, and that's coming soon. You'll see it on FloridaMedicalMarijuana.net as well as
FloridaMarijuana.net.
FloridaMarijuana.net, as well as the Cannabis Life page, as far as how you can get involved cannabis.
Yes, that's correct. And it's basically going to aggregate a lot of available information that's already out there
Right.
for people, because one of the biggest questions, and we all see it all the time, is, hey, I want to help. How can I get involved?
Right.
And that's such a long-winded answer. Usually the best one is start locally. That's where you can have the most change, to be honest, and work from there. And yeah, we're going to have that out sometime next year, soon.
Early in January. And we're joined by
We got to
Chris
go through
Sunshine,
it quick
so he
too,
will close
because
out
we're
with
closing out. We're like a minute, 30
Yes.
seconds.
Close out with Chris
Give us your
Sunshine.
sunshine, dog.
Sunshine, are we
Shine
on?
upon
We're
us.
live?
Yeah, we're live. We're
See,
running.
right there.
We're running.
Listen, it's not about us right now. It's about regulating Florida. This is what we need you guys to do. You see the back of this?
Yes.
This is peace, prosperity, and pot, and that's what it's all about. We want everybody in the Sunshine State to be able to grow their own cannabis plants. Now, not everybody wants to grow their own cannabis plants, but a lot of us will, because this is the Sunshine State. This is what we do, and we want everyone to be able to be involved that wants a piece of the pie, that wants to be in the cannabis. We kind of started this whole thing. All the cannabis used to come through Florida. All the genetics were spread out west from Florida. We are the epicenter of this. We're the #1 indoor grow state in the country, if not the world.
Yep.
And we know how to do it. We know what we're doing. We've got the genetics. We've got the people. We've got everything but the law. So what we need to do is we need you to go to regulateflorida.com. If you can donate money, we really need funds, because the funds are used to get petitions signed, because volunteers have to have gas and food, and you have to print petitions, which costs money. I'm a board member of Regulate Florida. Robert Roundtree works very closely. He is helping to lead the charge. And if we can get these petitions signed, every adult over 21 in the state of Florida will be able to access cannabis. No patient will be left behind. There are millions of patients here in Florida who will not qualify under Amendment 2, and they need access. We need to be able to grow our own medicine, and we need to free this plan and Regulate Florida.
What's the petition count? What's the petition count?
Oh, we've got like 40 or 50,000 signed.
50,000
We're getting very
Nice.
close
Yeah.
to getting Supreme Court review.
Right.
Excellent.
Nice.
I mean, the target obviously was 2018. That was the target. But even if it's 2020, which may make more sense because it's a presidential election year.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And we have overwhelming support in the community. I know you guys are huge supporters.
Yeah.
You've done so much to help.
We're definitely going to be doing a
Florida.
lot of
We're
things.
counting
going
on everyone to get involved in this. So if you can donate money, actually for the next 24 hours, Sunshine Cannabis will be matching donations up to $2,500. We're going to match up to $2,500. So if someone out there will donate $2,500, Sunshine Cannabis will match it, so that it'll be $5,000.
Nice.
Or if you donate $500, I'll match it with $500. It's a 24-hour match.
Love
Just came up with this, and this is because of Cannabis Life Radio.
Even if
having
all you
some
have is
show
$1
there.
or $5,
We
it
love
all adds
Cannabis
up.
Life Radio.
Listen.
We love Green Roads CBD.
Yeah.
Obviously, if you need CBD, I send everybody now. I used to send them to a
Right.
Colorado company. I
on.
send everyone to Green
Thank
Roads.
you, man.
guys
Thank
are
you,
the
brother.
best. We
Thank
love
you.
it.
Right.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
having me.
All right.
Listen, a lot of new things coming up on Cannabis Life Radio. Tune in us on Wednesdays. Wednesday is going to be the early bird, the young birds, going to be broadcasting a little bit of crazy things: alcohol versus cannabis, Xanax versus cannabis, oxys versus cannabis. So what we're going to show is how the effects are and the difference are between being on cannabis or CBD and being on alcohol, Xanax, Oxycontin, possible heroin. And we're getting corporation agreements to be able to film these individuals going to work and functioning on a daily basis, so we could prove what the difference is, so we could eliminate the stigma.
That's right.
That's going to be
All right.
So
All
I'll
right.
leave it to Leon.
All right. We were supposed to end this show about 15, 20 minutes ago.
Let's keep it going.
All right.
Yeah.
All night long. All right.
Hallelujah.
You are currently tuned to Cannabis Life Radio, brought to you by Green
Rose World.
See you next
World. Peace.
I love this room, man. This room is incredible. This is a real.
Join us next week for another edition of Cannabis Life Radio. Cannabis Life Radio has been a presentation of Green Roads World. Join us next week for another edition of Cannabis Life Radio. Cannabis Life Radio has been a presentation of Green Roads World.